A question I get asked a lot is, how do I handle the negative people in my life? Hi, I'm Stacey Berger, Life Mastery Consultant here with Mastering Your Mindset. What can happen in our lives is we start to become more aware that our thoughts create our reality, and we become more intentional about how we're moving and maybe starting that gratitude practice, having a vision, moving towards our goals. We become more aware of the negative people in our life, the complainers, the naysayers, and maybe we didn't even notice that's the way they were before, but as we start to change, as we start to make those changes in our life, it becomes more apparent. So how do you handle those negative people in your life? There's a wonderful quote by Eleanor Roosevelt that says, "All the water in the world cannot drown me unless it gets inside of me." So how does that relate to you and to your dreams? That what people are saying to you, that negativity, the only way that it can impact you is if you let it in. If you allow it to impact you, if you hang on to those thoughts and really take that in, and therefore allow it to start to change your thinking and change your course of action. So it's really about noticing what you're noticing, paying attention to the surroundings, what you're hearing, and knowing that we have a very powerful mental faculty called our reason, where we can accept or reject ideas, where we can say, yes, this is a truth for me, I'm going to really let this in and engage with this, or nope, and it's almost like putting up a shield and saying, no, that doesn't apply to me and I don't want to share in that. And when you have those negative people in your life, to be very intentional. If you're going out for dinner, if it's out for coffee, before you even go into that meeting or that connection, notice your energy. If right away you're starting to dread that conversation, you're already projecting that it's going to be negative, you're going to be drained, that's the experience that you will typically generate. So start with setting some intentions. How do you want to show up in that conversation, in that appointment, in that interaction? How do you want to be? What would you love the result to be? And start to be very intentional about how you're going to show up. We can't always change how other people are going to interact with us and what they're going to talk about, but what we have divinity over is how we're going to show up. So set those intentions before you even go there, being very aware, and try and pivot the conversation if you can. So if you notice a conversation going into that negative spin, try asking questions like, what would you love and what's going on for you, and tell me some good things. So try those pivot conversations if that works. And of course, it's really about surrounding ourselves with positive people, people who can support us in our dreams, people that we can support in their dreams. So begin writing that vision of who do you want in your life? Who do you want that friends support network of friends to be, to get really clear of what that is. And if that's what you want to attract in your life, it really starts with you being that person. Are you a positive person? Are you supportive? Are you really connecting with people and supporting them in their dreams? And as you become that person, just watch and with amazement of the wonderful people that begin to show up in your life. So we can't always exclude those negative people from our lives, especially if they're family, but we can choose how we're going to interact with them and change the nature of those relationships, and then attract a different circle of people in our lives as well. If you're ready to step inside a life that you love and you want more tools and support system, please go ahead and sign up for that complimentary strategy session in the link below. We'll talk about where you are, where you want to be, and specific strategies to get there. And how do you handle the negative people in your life? Would love to hear from you, and please comment below on your tips and tricks to support everybody. And if you're interested in staying connected with more Mastering Your Mindset tools, you can sign up for the YouTube channel by clicking that link as well.